Welcome to Wally Spark Reviews.
That's Wally with an E!
Alright, so this is my adjustable chain link fence gate kit. I picked this up from Menards and it's 4 feet high and adjustable from 24 to 72 inches. And I needed an adjustable one because I have an odd width that I'm trying to accommodate, which is about 55 inches. So we're going to go ahead and unbox this and put it together. So this looks like it's going to be a fairly simple operation, not any more complicated than what I make it out to be. We got the chain link fencing, some hardware, and our frame here. So in a nutshell, we also have a couple tension bars that'll go on later. But as I said, in a nutshell, you're going to take your frame and between each one of these, you're going to get your other part of your frame attached to the top and the bottom. And that's going to be the start of your gate. Fairly simple. It's got some self-tapping screws that we're going to be putting in to hold this all together. But right now I need to take the measurement of where my gate is going, and I got to get the measurement of the width for this bar here and cut it down with a hacksaw. So I'm going to go ahead and get those measurements now, and we'll come back and cut these down to the right length and then continue on. Okay, before I even did any measuring, I decided that it's probably going to be easiest to actually just take both the top and bottom rails and attach them into the side rail here on one side already before I even do any measuring, because that way I might be able to kind of stick this up against the space that I'm putting it in and make sure I get an accurate measurement of where I need to cut these two top and bottom rail bars down to. So they go together fairly simply. You've got then it's, shape like that. That's going to fit into that shape right there. And then you have a pilot hole already drilled on both the top and bottom rails. And then once that's inserted into the side rail, you're just gonna, there's no pre-drilled hole in there, so you're gonna use the self-tapping screws that they supplied. So we'll see how that works. All right, I'm gonna get started. I got this leaning up against my garage door so I can kind of push that rail into the side rail and keep it nice and tight. And I got my cordless drill I'm going to use with a bit driver and see how these self-starting screws work. Just got to kind of hold it up here a little bit. All right. There's one. I'll do the same to the other one here, and that'll be together. At least one side. Okay, so now that I got my top and bottom rail connected to one of the side rails, I'm just going to loosely fit these gate hinges on. There's two of them. And you're going to want to make sure that you have the flush end of the bolt, the nicer looking end, facing out, not into the yard, because you want the nice side always facing out. And in this case, this is pretty much how my gate is going to be, and it's going to open from that side over there, and it's going to come out. And then when I close it, this side, the back of it, is going to be the yard side. So I'm going to have my bolts facing towards the yard. That way it looks better from the outside for your neighbors and whoever else sees it. And the ugly side is going to be on the inside, where pretty much anybody in your yard will be looking at it. All right, those are on there, and I'm getting these ready because I'm gonna take this whole thing before I get the other side rail on and attach it to my post out there on the post hinges, and just get a good feel for where I really need to cut these poles, this top and bottom rail, because once you cut that top and bottom rail, if you want too short, you're going to be in trouble. You just wasted $80 basically for what I paid for this. So I want to get this kind of set up in use without the other side rail first on where it's going, and then I'm going to kind of just size it up, eyeball it up out there, and get a more accurate measurement than just trying to do it by measuring between the gate posts and everything. And the reason I'm saying all this is because, you know, every little thing that goes on these is going to take up a little space. So I think this is about 2 inches away from the one side of the post, while I'm going to want that side to be exactly 2 inches away from the latch, so it looks even on both sides. So if you got the opportunity to take this thing like I'm doing and kind of set it up before you cut those rails, the top and bottom rail, you're going to get a better idea of where exactly you need to cut, and you're going to be able to measure it easier, I think anyway. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, we're going to take this outside and start putting it on the post hinges and see what we got. Hopefully you can see everything here. I just wanted to point something out with this chain link fence adjustable gate kit that I bought from Menards. This is the female pin connector that came with the gate kit. And the problem is, well, let me first say that I had to order these special from Amazon, and I'll leave a link in the description of where you can get these. I had to order them special because I'm not attaching my chain link fence gate to a normal steel post. I'm attaching it to a 4x4 cedar post. So I needed something that I could screw, this into the cedar post, something like this, something exactly like this. Anyway, the problem that I ran into was this piece that came with the chain link fence gate kit would not fit on to that pin. It's welded in here, and I can't open it up anymore unless I cut that weld out, which would, I shouldn't have to go through that much work. This should be ready to go on to a standard pin. These are both 5/8. This is a 5/8 hole apparently, well, apparently not, and a 5/8 pin, and it does not fit. So I took it back to Menards and showed them what was going on. I went and grabbed one of their standard female connectors here and showed them that, hey, it goes right on there just perfectly. But the one that came with the kit does not work. I also tried this one on one of their normal male pins, hinges, and it did the same thing. So they couldn't figure it out. They ended up giving me 2 of these for free. They're only $2.50 a piece, I think. So if worst case, if you had to buy them, you're only out of another $5. But why should you have to spend another $5? This one in the kit should have worked, but it didn't. Actually, there's two of these, and both of them did the same thing. They wouldn't fit on that pin. So they ended up giving me 2 free ones, and my problem is solved. But if you run into that, there you go. Just bring it back to Menards, show them what's going on, and hopefully they'll just give you a couple free. Or, you know, like I said, worst case, $5 you can buy a set of these. But yeah, I don't know why that's happening. I don't know what the deal is. Just bad manufacturing or something. I don't know. But there you go. I solved my problem, and we're ready to put this onto my 4x4 post, and this to the gate, and attach it, and put the gate on. So that's what we're going to do next. Here is where the gate is going to go, right between those two 4x4 cedar posts. And it's going to swing out towards me this way. The male pin hinges are going to be on that side over there. And all I did here was basically just found my halfway point up the post, and then found my halfway point between the top and the middle and the bottom and the middle. And I also took my, and I marked that, by the way. I just put some tape on there so it didn't have to write on the post itself. And then I took my hinge pin here and made a little mark halfway up and a little mark halfway across. And I'm just going to basically line that mark up with that line. And I have another little notch up here that I'm going to line up with the center of my pin hinge here. And then we're going to screw that one in. And we're going to do the same thing on the bottom one here. Just like that. I'm going to drill some pilot holes, and I'm going to hold these in with some lag bolts. I'm going to try to use these 1 3/4 lag bolts to hold this male pin hinge on. If that seems a little weak, I'm going to move up to a 2 1/4 inch lag bolt, which is a little thicker in diameter too. I'm not sure the diameter of either one of these, but this is thicker. I think these will do well. Both of these were just laying around in my garage, and I got a few of them, so if this doesn't work out, the hole will already be in there, and I'll just take these out and put these bigger ones in. And none of the hardware to attach to, whether you're going to a cedar post or a standard chain link fence steel post, none of the hardware for the post side came with the adjustable gate kit. Only the female hinges came with the adjustable gate kit. So we're going to try these smaller ones out. If they work, great. If not, I'll move them up to the bigger lag bolt there. That was pretty painless. Only took a couple minutes. I got my top bolt on both pin hinges there. And now I'm just going to take my level here and make sure that these are perfectly vertical, and I'll drill my pilot hole on the bottom holes of both pin hinges, then put my lag bolts in. And that first lag bolt that I used, the 1 3/4, seems to be working just fine. It's nice and tight. I don't think it's going anywhere, and it's going to hold the gate up just beautifully. I got my male hinge pins on securely now, and I just kind of got these female hinges on here loosely. I'm going to try to get the frame of the gate on here just to see where I'm at. Alright, doesn't look too bad. I'm going to raise this whole frame up a little bit, probably about 2 inches off the ground, and we'll kind of start sizing things up. I didn't realize until I got this up here that this gap now is bigger than what I thought it was going to be. It's not drastically big, but Yeah, it's kind of more than what I wanted, but I have to make do with what I got because I'm not doing this gate on a standard chain link fence post. I'm doing it on a 4x4. So, and really the gate's purpose is to just keep larger animals out of my backyard. Nothing's going to get through there. Maybe a cocker spaniel and a squirrel. That's about it. So I'm happy with it. It's going to stay like it is. And the next thing I'm going to do is kind of what I did on that side. I'm just going to find my center and then find the center between the top and the center, which will be around here, and get my latch on here. And then I'm going to start figuring out where I need to cut down my two rails, my top and bottom rail, and we'll go from there. There you have it. The gate frame is up. It took a little finagling. I cut it too long the first time and had to cut those top and bottom rails down a little bit more. But we finally got it in place how I want it. And it's a little tight on the latch here, but I can finagle that a little bit when I first want to get the fence on it and the strap that goes across it, that the tightening strap, wire, whatever you call it, and I want to get all that on there before I do any adjustments, because once I put that fencing on and the tightening wire, the support wire, I'm not sure what it's called, but that should pull that together a little bit tighter and then bring it just a little away from the latch, and that's maybe all I need, so it's not so tight right there where the latch is, but we'll see. I'm sure it would have been boring for you to watch me do the next few steps, so I'm just going to kind of tell you what I did here. We got everything set up as you saw before. The frame was all done, the hinges all done, and now I brought this back in the garage and laid the frame on the floor and started putting my fencing on. The first thing that had to go on was this tension wire from one corner, the lower right corner, to the top hinge side corner, and that's adjustable right there. If you can see that, you can tighten it or loosen it, and that can be fine-tuned once the gate is up in place too. So we got that wire on, that tension wire, and we followed the directions a little bit to figure out how that all goes on, but a little common sense and a little reading the directions, we were able to do it. Then we took our fence and just kind of laid it on here, put our tension bar through this end of it with our tension bar clamps or clips, 3 of them, and basically got those all set up, the 3 tension bar clamps here, or clips, on this side. Now we're going to go to the other side, and I'm going to, with a little help from my brother, try to pull the fencing over that way as tight as we can get it to figure out how much we need to take off. Because if you remember, this gate goes up to 72 inches, but I only needed about 56. So we're going to take some of that off. And basically you find out where you're going to take your end off from and grab one of these strands, and then they just kind of wind out, and that will release whatever section you winded it out from, and then you'll have the right length of fencing, if that makes any sense. I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and film this, and we're going to put it in fast motion. Alright, so we got that on. The sides anyways. Oh, you know what we forgot? The tension bar.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have to take it apart a little bit and stick that through there. Well, let's see if we can get it on there. Shoot. And on these tension bars, you're gonna want the part with the hole going through it
That's on the bottom.
up on the top of the gate. And our gate is upside down right now, so I'm just gonna flip this around so the part with the hole on it is going down. But ultimately, when the gate's up, it should be on the top, the whole part, because it's gonna be held up with one of the aluminum ties. All right, well, we forgot to put one of the tension bars in, so I'm gonna try to finagle it in here while it's in play. That's not gonna go there anyways, is it? All right, we're gonna have to take a minute and look at this. I'll be right back. Okay, as I said, we forgot to put that tension bar in over on this side, and we were able to finagle it in. And in the process, I was able to pull it over a little bit tighter, about one strand closer. So it's really nice and tight now. And now I'm gonna make sure this is on here nice and even. And then we'll go ahead with our aluminum ties and start putting some of those on the top rail and the fence and the bottom rail and the fence. Eventually I'll cut this. This is the extra wire that was left on the tension strap, tension wire. I'll cut that off. I just wanted to leave it there just to make sure everything was right before I started cutting things apart. And we had to pull out a little more, a couple more strands of this fencing here. And since we already had it in place, it was a little difficult, so I just took a wire snippers and cut it off. Made it a lot easier. It's just aluminum. So there we go. We're gonna start putting on our top and bottom straps. We do have a little one extra strand on the side here. I'm not gonna pull this all apart again and try to get that out. So again, I'm just gonna use the clippers. And we're just gonna kinda cut it down, get it out of there. And there you go, that should look a little better. Oh, we lost a bar there, hold on. This has actually got to go up one, because it should be holding the tension bar and around one strand of fencing too. That way it doesn't fall off like you just seen me do it. And here's another one I missed, if you can see. We're gonna pull this back, if I can. And put it around that right there. There we go. Okay, we're looking good. Let's go ahead and throw our aluminum straps on the top and bottom. Okay, I'm just kind of putting these aluminum tie wraps on by hand. It's not the most professional way to do it, but it'll work. All right, for now I put 3 on the one side rail and 3 on the other side rail. And as you can see, this is pretty tight. It looks good. Take a look at it once. Yeah, looks good and it's nice and sturdy. We're gonna put it on the hinges and see what it does. Well, here's the final product. It's all done. Looks pretty good, nice and sturdy. The gap here did move over, it increased a little bit, so it's going in there just perfectly now. We do still have that extra wide gap over here, but again, I can't get around that because I had to use those special hinges for a 4x4 post, and they're just a little wider than what you would find on a steel post if you were connecting this to regular steel post hinges. But again, I can live with that gap. It's not enough for an animal to get through except for maybe a squirrel, so I'm not worried about it. It turned out pretty nice. The gate is a little stiff on the hinges, but that should wear down and get smoother in time. But for now, I like it like it is. It stays in place. And as you can see, opens nicely, locks nicely. I just put a 2x4 underneath the bottom of this to give me my height. That was, inch and a half. That was just perfect, so it worked out nice. Wasn't too bad putting together. I'm guessing you could do this by yourself, maybe with a little help, in just a couple hours or less. And the directions were mediocre. They helped a little bit, but the pictures were terrible, and it was just nice to have them for a little guide, but they weren't the greatest directions in the world. So there you have it. I will leave a link in the description of where you can get this from, and if you decide to do the project yourself, I wish you luck. There were some twists and turns and a couple little problems we ran into, but nothing that can't be solved with a little common sense. Just remember, when you're cutting it and everything, rather cut it too long and make a mistake than too short, because then you're going to end up having to either try to find these poles, this top and bottom rail here, to recut a new top and bottom rail, or you may have to end up buying the whole gate all over again. So just take your time, measure twice, cut once, and that should be it. We're good to go. All right, thank you.